and welcome to Let's Drone Out, episode 313. This is, we've just had LDO No, that was at the weekend. So we've grabbed on some of the guys that were there and flying with us at LDO No to kind of go over a bit of what happened and get a bit of a taste of it. So tonight we are joined by Tony.
Bonjour.
We are joined by Martian.
Hello.
We are joined by Lurgy.
Hello.
And we are joined by Stephen.
Hello.
I am Frank. And Jack would be here, but he's
died.
I don't know. He's inhaled
His voice has
something,
died.
or he's falling apart somewhere. So that is why Caroline is shocked that we're almost bang on time. Jack is off ill. Curry will be back shortly. He unfortunately couldn't make LDO No because cruelly they decided that would be the best time for him to have his next round of knee surgery. So he didn't make it. But we did have quite a few people there. I mean, we had 20 odd people signed up. And most of them came for some amount of it. I think everyone managed to find their way through the maze to where we were parking. I did eventually put up some signs and get around to that, but hopefully that all worked out. Everyone seemed to get there. I didn't get any calls apart from 2, actually, Martian.
Where are ya?
I'm on a big hill.
Exactly. I think most people.
Oh my god. Sorry.
That's where Jack is. So I think most people managed to not get too wound up by their GPS telling them that they're in the middle of nowhere and it's not the right place to go. And hopefully managed to find some signs and found us. We had fossil staff there who Martin brought along a load of flags and basically a tent, an enormous shelter, Coleman shelter. So that not only did we have the sort of clubhouse hut with the wood burning stove and the microwave and everything else that's in there and Wi-Fi, but we also had a Coleman shelter out on the field. So thank you very much for fossil stuff for bringing those along.
Yeah, that was an excellent tent.
Yeah,
Bit worried about being caught out with some showers, but yeah.
It did rain for a few hours, didn't it, when we got there?
Yeah, and we also had Menace come along and bring along some lovely goodies. Martian is sporting the hat there, very nice new version of the hat. There were some other goodies as well going around, which were very useful. We got some good use out of those. So we'll get into that, I'm sure. But what did everyone think of? I mean, well, I guess who actually, because when we first got there, like you were saying, Tony, it was raining a little bit.
It'll stop in 15 minutes.
Yes, that was what Tony was telling us. Every 5 minutes.
Another 15 minutes every 15 minutes.
Yeah, 2 hours later, you get a little break, and then quickly go and fly, and then it starts to rain again. 15 minutes.
Well, we decided to put the tent up, put the shelter up, so it would stop raining, and that worked pretty much.
Yeah, that seemed to work. Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed I arrived with a bunch of whip gates just as the rain had stopped and everyone was starting to fly outside, so they didn't get much use.
Yeah, I think we sort of just got to the point where we're starting to get people over to. Like, I'd given up on being able to fly in the field because it was just raining. So I grabbed a few people and we went over to a bit of the wooded area. This is actually kind of some farmed woods. They're all kind of nicely spaced out. They're all pruned to be really tall and without too much scraggle on them. So we went out there, and Martian again had this amazing tiny little. What was that tiny little quad that you brought that everyone was fawning over?
Absolutely tiny.
Little one there. It's a little 65mm reverb, which is basically like a whoop without the prop guards. And
What
yeah.
motors is that running? Looks a bit chunky for a what?
0802s.
Oh,
So
just
they're whoop
racing out drops.
motors. Yeah. But, yeah, it flies a little bit better than a whoop.
Yeah, because it's a carbon fiber frame as well, so it looks like it should fly pretty
You
nicely.
don't get all the funny prop washout stuff which you get with a whoop, so you can dive things and try and pull out, but it's massively underpowered. But it's still fun.
What did you think about flying through the woods? Was it any good? I mean, I've tried to fly a little bit around it, but I don't have anything like that would be
Do
really
you have
good.
any DVR?
I think I only had one flight. It was good, but the range on this, I've had a little problem with the receiver, so I was getting about 30 foot away and it was just dropping out the sky, but managed to hit a few branches and I think I orbited somebody. I'll have to go and check the DVR on that. I think it was Numbskull. He came for a little wander and I thought, okay, let's go around him. Went around him, smacked straight into a tree.
I think Numbskull was the traveller that travelled the furthest. I think
if we were doing some prizes for furthest travelled, yeah, definitely.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for bothering to come from Wales. Bless you.
Thanks for pulling my quad out of the tree as well. We had a big rope attached to a quad trying to rescue Lurgy's wing. And I managed to get tangled up in the...
What? Don't look away, Lurgy.
Yeah, well, yeah, because that was, I mean, we, like you said, we were just out starting to fly some whoops. Stephen turned up with a load of whoop gates. We're all ready, we had NJ was flying his OMP M1 helicopter basically in the car park under the trees, under the canopy of the trees where it was a bit sheltered and not so rainy.
Awesome, wasn't it? It's about that big.
It's crazy.
It was amazing.
Looks like there was some crawler footage as well.
Yeah. There were some crawlers going around. It looked really good. And so we were all sort of settling into being okay. We're gonna have to be under the trees, out of the rain. And just as that happened, it got sunny again.
Told you, 15 minutes, mate.
So of course, everyone raced out into the middle of the field to try and fly their largest aircraft they brought with them. It to tear around.
All on R1.
You had one of the fossil 7-inch ones, right? Someone was ripping one of those around.
Yes, Martian is totally disregarded what the Tomahawk was designed for and ripped around the skies. Actually, it's very, very impressive. The Tomahawk was... What is a cruiser, and you were like literally ripping it.
Freestyling cruisers.
Yeah.
I was impressed. I was impressed with that. It was a good tune on that. Really good tune, and nice to see it doing something else rather than just cruising. It was literally cracking the sky apart sometimes.
Frank, do we have any of this on? Do we have any of this on YouTube that we can throw in, or?
We can probably do something. For people that don't know, what is the Tomahawk?
7-inch cruise sort of
dead cat,
pod or dead cat style.
Yeah, pretty chunky one, not a lightweight.
But Martian McFly decided to rip it instead of cruising it, which was quite impressive.
You've got to love that higher top speed.
It was good,
nice,
man.
speed.
I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's the trusted crawler.
And that's the.
What camera have you got on there?
That's a Cadex, the all-in-one HD. I can't remember what they call it. The turtle with a bit of stabilization.
Oh
man, our bandwidth's collapsed.
Yeah.
That was Jack's.
The infamous yellow LDO plane made a couple of appearances throughout the day there with various aeronautic display smoke flares.
I'd say various crashes.
I did one very, very fast lap before crashing one time when it seemed to be running a little bit heavy.
Yeah, so
delivering soft drinks.
Yeah, so this was the Mini Guinea, that which is a flight test model, which is like a twin motor kind of cargo plane, the kind of thing that Peter Streepole would have built with Flight Test a few years ago, or even before he joined Flight Test. To be honest,
If
he
he'd
was
been
building those
strongly
kinds of
influenced by Only Fools and Horses.
things. But yeah, Jack built this for the challenge last year, where I sent a box of random stuff to all the hosts. This was back down in lockdown 1, where no one could get out, no one could fly, or at least maybe didn't feel like going out because it was a bit of a scary time. And there wasn't anything coming into review. There was no good news, effectively. So I got someone in the kind of line of sight socks and sandals brigade sort of world. He sells loads of secondhand models, and he ends up with like piles of stuff and that are just magic mystery boxes of rubbish. And so I got him to send out a box of those to each of the hosts, and they all built up something. So the one that kind of won that challenge was Curry's. I can't remember what he called it now.
And you can't say it.
I can't say it. Yeah. Where the sort of little car tricycle thing within it, a propeller on the back, driving around.
Yeah.
And
They're one
Jack,
of those fan boats, except with wheels.
Exactly. And Jack built the Mini Guinea, and so he actually took it out and had it flying. He did initially have a receiver in it that I wouldn't rate very highly. So when Sheldon first maidened it, I think it got kind of maybe a lap or two in, and then it had a habit of just kind of full aileron one way, then full aileron the other, and piling into the ground, which Jack assured me was not the failsafe that he had set up, but I don't know. There's only so much you can say, really, isn't there? But yeah, so there was what was going on with the drinks can, because I wasn't there for that bit. I think I was initiating some people that turned up.
I was on a coffee run, I think.
I think there was some attempt at a precision airdrop, and they were experimenting with the drinks can to line it up, whereupon they realized that the internal construction of the fuselage wasn't exactly well designed for this, and that a heavy object, instead of falling out the door, would tend to just sort of slide to the back of the plane immediately, jam itself back there, and then cause the plane to kind of just go tail down and get stuck. So it didn't work. And then they'd open the door, but of course it would have already gone past the door and wedged itself, so nothing really happened.
Only on LDO.
Yeah.
And knock out a goat on its way down.
Yes, the less said about the goats, the better. Yeah, it's fine. I think the goats were fine. I was eyeing them
We
up.
saw no sign of goats the whole time. The
I
goats
didn't
were
ever
definitely
see
not
a
harassed.
goat when I was there.
They
Even
were
flying
under the
around.
trees next to the house when we all first went out there and started flying, and I was keeping an eye on them, and they took absolutely zero notice of anything that we were doing or anything that was flying, as far as I'm concerned. They were, they might look up occasionally and then just go back to what they're doing, eating and whatever else they do, just standing there mainly.
Did you guys actually find the can in the end?
So Ryan James the Wolf in the chat is saying 25 minutes searching for the smallest 7-Up involving barbed wire and wet feet.
I think we all had wet feet at the end of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the smoke from the plane was pretty good. On the first one, I filmed you guys for absolutely ages when you were about to throw it. Lots of discussions and tweaking of things, and eventually... The second time, I'd got bored of waiting for people to start the plane up and just gone off around the field wandering around and completely missed when the plane started until it was blowing smoke and went right past my quad. And then realised, oh yeah, I should be following that.
Yeah, so we I brought along my ammo can of various pyrotechnic bits, and Greg from Menace brought along his latest prototype of a pyro board, effectively. So based on the Menace RC switch that's good for turning on and off LEDs, he's coming up with a thing for doing some nice pyrotechnics, which Andy RC may or may not have been doing some testing with as well. So Menace brought that along. I was hoping to have my big Trojan that didn't survive the journey very well to the field.
That's what she said. All right. I have to. Just have to.
But as Jack
you off
has
now.
the
I thought you fixed that, Frank.
well, I tried fixing it, but it wasn't very well fixed, and I didn't trust it to last, especially if I was being attacked by quads. So that didn't go up in the air. But as Jack had the Mini Guinea there, that seemed like the ideal platform to be messing around with some pyrotechnics. So we did indeed have. We started off with just the one smoke grenade on the bottom of it, and flying along and setting that off. And once we'd eventually swapped out the receiver for one that was a bit less pants, and set up the ailerons correctly, then it flew okay.
It flew 3 times in its
It received a lot of
25
additional tape.
minutes of life.
Yeah, the first few times it flew, because it was flying on the fairly daft receiver, it would kind of go fine for a lap or two and then just spiral into the ground.
That was so it wasn't pilot error then. That was
No.
I remember you all going,
Was
"Oh,
that
it
an
wasn't
old
me, it
X6
wasn't me."
or something you had?
It was some tiny little micro receiver, some kind of park flyer thing that's just.
And he made it himself with a couple of resistors and some.
It definitely looked fairly Jack
chewing gum, a couple of caps pushed into it.
Yeah, there was bits of perf board, and it looks I didn't trust it, so replaced it with one out of the Trojan, actually. Haha, very funny. And the first time I flew off that, I hadn't checked the flight controls, and so yeah, I did a lovely barrel roll before landing it again, because the ailerons were reversed. But once we sorted that out, we could actually fly it. Got one smoke grenade going off from the bottom, and had a few quads flying around, chasing that around. And then we tried to do 2 smoke grenades at the same time.
No.
And
What happened?
One of them went off, the other one didn't. But we worked out why, and we adjusted that, and then from then on, we could do 2 at a time, and it will work really well. So I'm looking forward
to fair bit of smoke coming out the back of it, even with one.
Oh yeah.
So, there's 25 seconds of quick, get in the stream. How close can you get?
Yeah, that was fun. I wish I managed to get a balance lead adapter for 3S. I was cruising around with these giant 3Ss on 5-inch. But I was tearing off this thing on the 4-inch and just had to keep the throttle completely pegged to keep up with this crappy plane. It was ridiculous.
Don't say it was crappy. You never be allowed on again.
Sorry.
Jack gets
It
back and
literally
he's
came
allowed
from
to
the crank
talk.
box. So
Yeah, absolutely.
So strictly speaking, this crappy. Crap is its heritage.
I mean, I did like his. He put all the vinyls on it as well. That's thrown out, written on the side. Looks pretty smart.
It flew really well.
That's pushing it a bit, but yeah.
It was all right. It was faster than I thought it might have been for a cargo plane.
I felt you had to fly it quite fast. It didn't like flying slowly.
Is that all the weight on it?
Maybe. I don't think it was particularly aerodynamically efficient either.
Yeah, I think maybe the wings were a bit more kind of rough and ready than they could have been.
Yeah. I think there's only so precise you can be
The
with
throttle can
foam
make up
boards
for
that's
it
been
if you've got
crashed
enough
into the
throttle.
ground multiple times,
Mm.
filled with hot glue.
Yeah, it had been crashed a few times, and
I found it doesn't make a
Indeed.
lot of difference. He just keeps flying anyway.
Oh, it was flying, but
Yeah.
you needed a good bit of airspeed to keep it in the air.
Those wings you brought were pretty impressive. I saw a couple of the speed passes you were doing on those Lurgy. When you get 120
Lurgy's
miles,
120 mile an hour screamer.
Mm.
That
wasn't the
cool,
wing,
man.
that was the racer, that one. The wings, well, that's just over 100 on a good day, yeah. On 4S, so.
And what's the racer?
What's the difference between the racer and the wing? Are we just talking smaller?
The EF Extra, Durafly EF Extra.
Okay.
Which is like a pylon racer thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it
The one that
looks,
wasn't quite so noisy.
it kind of looks like a very sleek Reno racer type thing.
Absolutely awesome plane. Just like, you know, considering you
And
can buy a brand new.
you also found out that your return to home worked, didn't you?
Yeah, that was fun.
I've never tried it. It's coming back. It's good. It's coming
I
back.
couldn't believe it. Yeah. But yeah, that was weird. Failsafe, complete failsafe on Crossfire at like 399 feet away, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think
just out of the blue.
Sorry?
Just out of the blue, or were you seeing like
I
really
saw
bad
it drop down, and I started to turn, and it went completely. And all I saw was the ground, and then video loss. And then
Sometimes you
through the
just near a
static, I
radio
saw
mast and you're
returning to
screwed.
home en route to
Nothing you
home,
can
and I
do
was
about
like,
it.
"Oh, thank God."
That is
She
kind of a
did-
900
she
megahertz
did-
problem, isn't it, Frank? Like having random radio masts for phone signals at 900.
Well, I mean, it's the difference between the 868 and 900, right?
Sorry, yeah. I meant that the bands, I think, are also used by phone equipment, and you haven't got quite so many to skip out of the way as you do at 2.4. So
I think probably the bigger
situation
problem
sometimes.
there when we were looking at it was probably just a mass of wet trees.
Yeah,
there is that.
the field itself was quite enclosed by tall trees, so you had to fly quite high to get out any distance as such.
Yeah.
I think my most effective range test on ELRS and DJI was flying down this corridor that someone had cut in what was effectively woodland, loads of trees and bushes, and they just mowed down there, and it went slightly to one side. So I flew down there at like 700 milliwatt, and ELRS I think had a 100 milliwatt or more, and they about 40 meters. As soon as it hit that curve, just better than a rock.
You were on 25 all the time.
I was on 25 all the time. I wasn't anywhere in the range test.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it doesn't take much in the way of bushes and grass to completely knacker a radio.
I've never had a problem with Crossfire. I mean, near my place, I've got a cell, a water tower with a load of transmission gubbins on the top of it. And if I fly too close to that, I can literally see my RSSI drop, or the link quality drop. But I've never had a fail safe, but it literally just dropped straight off. And
We were near power lines and stuff as well, and all of us lot, all with our radios on. We were quite bunched up as well.
But again, the aerial isn't in the best place in that model. But I mean, on Crossfire, it shouldn't really matter.
No, not really.
It's what you think, isn't it? But well, I've definitely had that plane further than that at home or in other places. So, but it's high.
Brian blames the
You
buzzards.
can't argue with the noise floor. It's just what it is.
Anyway, it's not going to fail safe anymore.
Why is that, Lurgy?
It's still in the top of a tree there, isn't it? Well, unless it's fallen out by now, but I don't think it will have done.
We've not really had any wind, so it's probably still up there.
Yeah.
How did you crash it into the top of a tree? Not looking where you were going?
I mean, the ribbons didn't help the control. The streamers on it didn't help control. and
No.
like the streamer had just been cut. So every time the streamer got cut a little bit shorter, it altered the handling a little.
I wondered how you'd done that as well, because I was watching the videos and it looked like you crashed just after I cut the little streamers. So
Yeah, if you'd have cut the other side, I'd have been able to roll right out of that.
So it's your
Sorry.
fault.
Yeah, no, but it's just how it was.
yeah, all right.
Yeah, it's just how it was. Because as I was flying it, Martin was calling out, "Oh, you've just had one cut. This one's cut," and I could feel it, the drag on the plane. And when one was shorter than the other, it really was a bit of a handful.
What, 'cause you
How you
couldn't
get
roll?
over that, I don't know, but it just felt really tail heavy. But
Yeah.
obviously, you can't put a load of nose weight on, because then once your streamers are gone, you won't pull up, will you? I don't. Yeah.
The flight
Yeah, so these
controllers
are
are
like
cheating.
about what, 1.5 inch wide paper streamers. I brought along so that we could attach them onto the back of a load of planes and get the quads to chase after them.
Okay, and now change the blame to Frank.
I can't believe we actually like got it up in the air with the streamers without and getting caught in the.
They were like
brand.
100-foot long each, weren't they, or something ridiculous?
They look like it, don't they? It looked
were pretty
awesome
long.
on Martian's video.
Yeah.
I'm just so glad that someone actually got some footage of it, and I got to see the air-to-air footage of it.
You may get it back. You never know.
Yeah.
When all the
That
leaves
battery,
drop,
that was the expensive bit of it.
yeah. When the leaves drop, and we have the beast from the east or whatever, you know.
When autumn arrives and the quads will fall from the trees.
It might just get steady in the rain and
Really?
just sort of fold in
Yes.
half and fall out.
It might do. Yeah. Might get your stuff back. Right out in the microwave, it'd be all right.
Did you say you got the battery out?
Yeah, I just followed the trajectory of where it went into the tree and carried on, and it was on the floor.
It could be fine up there for months then.
Sorry?
It could be fine up there for months then.
Yeah. But yeah, like I say, there's not overly anything on it. It's only foam board, Yeah,
it's just the electronics.
that's what I was saying to you,
Little bit
Tony. It's not worth, like, I was going to climb the tree, but it's not worth it just for a few quid.
I was like, you're gonna die for a bit of foam board. Just don't bother. Yeah.
I mean, you literally got so far that you had a harness on. I thought, right, here we go. He's allowed to be up that tree. That kind of sanity prevailed. He was
I was like, no, Lurgy, it's definitely not worth your life. Don't bother. But fair play to Martian McFly flying his quad up in there, and
that was
getting
some
a rope.
valiant attempts at a rescue mission.
Yeah,
Getting a
he
rope
managed
up
to
there.
almost land on it with a tiny whoop at one point.
I know.
Yeah, I think I did nudge it with the tiny whoop, but it just didn't have any
Yeah,
effect. But
I think that was a bit ambitious.
yeah,
Trying to knock a 600mm wing out with a tiny whoop.
and then the 5-inch got tangled up in between loads of branches and like numbskull
I
about
edged
half
up to
an
it
hour
slowly.
pulling on the rope.
But the branches were moving a
No,
wee bit.
the
No, I
the
just didn't
noises
fancy
of you arming and disarming. All in
There
the
was
tree,
there was
and
like
props not
sort of-
spinning, and ESCs smoking. And I was like, oh my god!
There was
all
no
the
damage
props were
to the
just
quad.
hubs or like
I
nothing.
can't believe
at
there
all.
was no damage to that. I flew into a bit of grass, crashed, and my ESC burnt out, and now I've got to go down to Jack's. That's... You were in a tree, making all these noises, clipping
Yeah, he's not on
branches, and it
kiss
was
though, is he?
fine. I know.
I managed to blow an
lucky.
ESC. This quad that alternately goes between really, really nice to fly and exciting and fun, and just absolutely oscillating madly. And finally, one of the motors burned out. And yeah, I think something's not right. Either that motor, and I think I had different motors on it before, so it's not the motors. I think one of the ESCs in the 4M1 is not having a good day.
Yeah, I lost the
smoke
ESC. There was 2 motors and a plane, I think. All in all, that's a pretty good day, to be fair.
I'm still going to rebuild that quad though, because when it flies really well. But getting it tuned on that board was maybe asking too much.
Yeah.
I'm
I've
pretty
got
sure when
twat
people say
tax now.
35 amp on like a Whoop board, they're like in your dreams 35 amp if you run 2S through it. Something like this. And 6S trying to push like 2306 motors, it's just not happy. Need to go for one of these fancy boards like the Beast.
Yeah. I had a good day though.
Yeah.
You were asking questions of what should have been done a little different, Frank.
Yeah.
Lawnmower.
Well, yeah. That would
More
have helped.
goats, many more goats eating all of the thistles
Yeah.
and brambles and things.
Tie the goats up in a way that they
In a
can just
line.
like eat away a nice little circle, just like a pole in the middle. Control on goats. Get them to mow out an area for us to stand in and not be knee deep in a load of weird foliage. That would probably help.
Yeah, a lot of ragwort there.
Been the
It
quad
was
into
good
the
conditions
brambles a
for
fair
soft
bit, and then
landings for planes, though.
thistles.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a soft landing and kind of just grabbing it out of the air. Like you couldn't just kind of nicely, gently settle it down. You just kind of slowly bring it in, and all of a sudden it would stop and disappear into the undergrowth. Yeah, it had grown a little bit in the past few weeks since I was last there, but it worked out.
It did work
nice
out.
place.
Are we allowed back?
Maybe.
It's only once a year.
Yeah,
Did we
I need
upset
to.
the goats?
My key contact is on holiday until Tuesday. Then I'll find out when they
Situation
return
report.
and get shouted at. Then I'll
By the
know.
neighbours. I
The
think
goats
we
were
were.
fine. It was the owner of the goats who wasn't happy.
Yeah, exactly.
The goats
but
are miles away.
I think we endeared ourselves to her son, seeing his reaction to Martian's whoop gates, the infinity tunnels. He was blown away by those. He loved those. He loved talking about intermodulation distortion on the FPV frequencies and working out how like all the frequency allocations work out. He loved that. He loved all the wings and the models and everything. He was sold, and he said when you next come back, let me know, and he's going to bring his dad along as well. So at least on that side, seems fairly positive.
That's good.
Speaking of intermodulation distortion, Frank, great job on the little organisation system there for the different
Thank you.
bands.
Except
And,
everyone
my
was on
apologies to my
R1.
fellow flyers when I forgot which band my new quad was tuned to after I swapped quads a couple of times. Apologies for that.
Yeah,
But
I think
we
Frank,
managed to
in
get DJI
future,
flying
rather
with analog, didn't we?
Yeah, so I think in future, rather than saying you've got this band, or this band, just say you are going to be on that band. You're going to be on that band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there was just literally pegs sticking out of R1 like a Christmas tree.
Everyone had got their 50p on the table, hadn't they?
Yeah, I think that was the thing is it's still not quite easy enough to change channels, and once people are flying.
Get one of those, if you have an Android phone, get the official Betaflight Configurator APK off Betaflight, nightly configurator builds. It runs on Android, an absolute treat. You have a little OTG cable and you can just go in there with the regular Betaflight UI, pop yourself on a new channel and power, and you know it's going to be set. No guessing or looking at little flashing lights, and just an OTG adapter, which is a fiber.
Bugsy R1 for next year. I've said it first, folks.
I'm gonna make sure that Tony never ever gets R1.
Everything is all my quads and everything is set to.
He won't have a clue how to change any of it.
I know. Some of my stuff's so old. I'm like, what do you do? Oh, 10 beeps for this, 10 for that, and then it's on 2.
Take off once the dial hits 30.
Yeah,
It's built up enough pressure.
that's it.
I have to say, your stuff looked remarkably professionally built. I'd heard all these tales of tape and twine and bits
Oh,
of
it's
gum.
because most of them were professionally built by someone else.
Oh, they did a great job of them.
They did. I can do it. I just don't like it, as you know.
I just expect you to turn up with some kind of fistful of sellotape with a prop on it.
I had chewing
Some of
gum
the tales
in
that
my
are trotted out.
backpack just in case. I was ready.
Got a bloke who lives under the stairs. He does it for him.
Yeah. I'll let him out soon. Get him to do something else. But there's no quads or anything that I'm interested in at the moment. There's no new stuff
Yeah.
that I want to do. There's no new frames.
That's because
Have you seen-
FTV's dead.
Have you seen that Catalyst
did see
Machine
that.
Works America macro? Does that look interesting?
Is that the 9-inch?
The 9-inch America.
It's interesting.
I don't see the point. I've got a 7-inch.
Looks like a 9-inch that you can actually like fly around and hit stuff, and is solidly built to take at least something of a knock rather than just crumpling. It's not just
Apparently
a flying
the
camera platform.
Props explode a lot though, don't they? I think they need to do some really strong props. So when you do crash, there's all that mass, you're just going to end up breaking
Just gonna
something.
shear off.
There was at least one
X
X-Class
Is it designed
I saw.
to chase something?
It's just designed with a really nice high cruise speed. Yeah. So if you want to do cars or something like this, something where you've got to be hitting 70, 80 mile an hour on a consistent basis, not just for bursts, then, you know.
So a 7-inch
Helps it
Tomahawk will be fine.
Yeah.
If you tune it like Martian Little Guy.
Get
Just to
10
make the
minutes
battery
well.
last, the people are talking about flying 10 or 15 minutes on this thing. You know, you get that payload increase as you start to scale up in prop size. You can carry around a battery that just lasts for absolutely ages. So if you do need to do like a lap of a track or something, you can just send it and keep holding it at like 70 miles an hour.
I might fly mine. What were you getting on yours, Martian? Flying it fast for? You were ripping it for like
I'll still
8
get about
minutes, probably.
roughly around about 10 minutes mixed flight. So if I'm really
see the
gentle on
DVR
the
from that.
throttle, I can get about 12 max. But if you're pushing it, it's about 8 to 10 minutes.
So you're doing 6S 3300?
Yeah.
3300, yeah, on 2200. So you,
That's a big battery.
yeah, but it took it well, and it was good.
Yeah, it flies
Oh,
really
it shifted.
nice.
Yeah, it really shifted.
And what
did.
props and motors?
Emax 2806,
Oh,
2807, and 13,000 kV with HQ 7x4s.
1300 kV. I
pretty
think we should
cool,
say for our viewers who may think he's running a tiny whip.
Yeah, 1300 kV.
Yeah, that thing moved. Yeah,
I'm thinking I would quite
this.
like something that sort of size, with that sort of performance, mainly for when I go and hang around with the Socks and Sandals people with their big IC models that go quite fast for quite long periods of time. I'd quite like to be able to chase them and not have to like give up as soon as it's gone past and left the runway and wait for them to come back again. I'd quite like to be able to actually follow them.
Yeah, it does have such an appeal. These giant high cruise speed models, I'd really like one, but realistically, I know I'm never going to end up getting one because I like to carry things by backpack to the flying site, and not the batteries for that more than a couple are just going to be ludicrous.
Yeah, my battery, I have to have a separate backpack for my batteries. So I've got my backpack, and then I have another backpack just for my batteries.
Yeah,
So
when
if I
Toad
go
turns
out,
up to the field, it does look like you're planning to stay there for about a week.
Doing Iron Man or something.
Yeah, it's bad. It's it's heavy. Yeah, it's a lot
Scare
of
the
battery.
shit out of me as well, to be
But then
perfectly honest.
he didn't
carrying
actually
around.
have his own little shelter.
No, I know someone who did have their own little shelter though. NJ, but he's not here.
No,
He had his own little shelter.
when we did actually get out onto the field, NJ had some bigger helis to fly as well.
Monster.
Yeah, that was quite entertaining and slightly terrifying.
I know. I made sure I stood behind someone. It's normally Jack,
Yeah.
but he was sitting down, so I think I stood behind Greg.
Yeah, I think I saw you and Greg kind of trying
Cuddling.
to. It's sort of like the potato thing, you know. You're
Yeah.
just both trying to hide behind each other.
Yeah,
I was
pretty
flying
much.
orbits around it.
You
Although they
were.
were a little bit wobbly at times, I'll admit that. I was a little bit tense.
Have we got any? Is there any footage of that? Have you got a
It's
YouTube
posted
channel?
on YouTube on my channel, Shiny Video Stuff. I really must rename that.
Oh, I quite like that.
Choice is
Oh,
driven by
right.
laziness.
I'm gonna have to have a look at that.
I'll see if it's if my internet has caught up. I have also posted links in the description if
Yeah,
you
so
want
there's
to
a bunch of videos in where are we at? In the chat, the LDO general discussion chat. Yeah, look, a man flying helicopter.
Oh, there's
Nice.
MJ flying.
Oh, should we have a closer look? I really must put some audio on this. Try and find some uncopyrighted stuff.
That's the problem nowadays. Trying to find some music without it. Was this recorded just via the DJI or?
This is the Smo 4K. I was never entirely sure if he was going to just gun the throttle and do something. He seemed quite happy, like hovering around there. But I was like, how close should I get?
upside
Not
down.
too sure.
chopping
That's
some
pretty.
plants
That's
down.
good footage. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it made a lovely noise, along with, I mean, the beast stuff, like the tomahawks.
starts
They
moving it
made
around
a
a
lovely
bit, doesn't it?
noise. I mean, basically anything with big props makes a lovely noise, as far as I understand.
I know.
Someone
Both
pulling
the
a rope out of a
X-classes
tree
didn't fly.
Yeah, there does seem to be a slight little, maybe a little orange rope somewhere. I think there's someone tugging
yes.
on it, trying to get the quad out of the tree, maybe.
I think that
Yeah.
was the second attempt.
And there was also just seeing in the background, reminding me, had the these poles, or the pole with the pylons from Mini Air Show, and that was for planes to have, or particularly planes to have a go at limboing under. We were going to kind of make a bit more of a competition out of that, but nah, I think we were just kind of
But
enjoying
they're
ourselves
all
anyway.
in the bloody trees, weren't they?
I wasn't going to say that. But Logie, you went through that
I
FPV
managed
on
to
your
get
wing.
a couple of goes clean on the second one, line of sight with a wing. I was well chuffed.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helicopter's scary, man. No, I'm looking at it now and I want to duck.
Nobody's standing on the flight line. They're all just
It did
hidden
seem a
behind.
lot bigger when it
No.
got close to you. Yeah.
The noise makes it seem scarier, I think, as well.
Yeah. That's pretty good footage there.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Good.
hidden.
I mean, I'm a bit hiding behind someone there.
How many X class did you have up in the end?
Mine didn't work.
Oh,
Mine needs literally taken apart, and I think Martin flew his for about 5 seconds and had something wrong with his, so he had to scrap that. I had to not.
Why don't we go and have a look at the?
Yeah,
oh,
mine
it's not
didn't
the plane
fly
that's
at all.
removed.
That
Yeah,
reminds me, I've got
Fascinating.
batteries I've got to discharge.
That was Fossil's gate. Fossil gates.
Gates.
Yeah, I was just going sideways and went smack into the gate. The flag, rather.
how come the X class seems to have these issues, Tony? Now, what's the
Mine
trick with
is
them?
because mine is like it was the first ever one. It was like prototype. It's not got a PDB. It's literally got big chunks of wires in it and blocks of aluminium, and the wire fell out the aluminium block. And there was no way of taking it apart and putting it back together. I mean, you can do an arm quite quickly, probably in half hour, but
So you've just
20
got
minutes.
like electrical blocks in there. Like
Pretty much, yeah.
standard household electrics.
It's like
with
a loom
brass
in there.
blocks with screws
Yeah.
and
It come out. So it was just too much effort to take apart in that field and put back together.
But even back at Wings and Wheels, it seemed like the X class were the ones that always seemed to have the gremlins.
Same problem, I think, for me. It was But at the time, three and a half years ago when I started this, there was no PDBs what could take the amperage. So now there is, of course. But I'm just
Right, and
still...
look at people flying Apexes. They're making that frame and clones of it thousands of times, and thousands of people are flying it. And the number of people flying X class is vanishingly small by comparison. So they just haven't done the frame development. The frames are still.
But you
just
can buy
to
PDBs and everything for it, ESCs, etc. So I don't know. Maybe I might strip it and take it apart and do it properly. But it's a bit of a mission. So, and I like the way it flies, so I might just put it back together. It basically just needs a negative sticking
before
in.
you have to kind of do serious maintenance on it before something's broken.
What was that?
Does it break stuff quite often, the X class?
Well, if you crash it one of them at 90 mile an hour, it's quite bad.
I remember seeing
I mean,
the wings
normally
and
it's
wheels.
just bend an aluminium arm and then bring
Just
it
bend
back.
it back. Yeah.
Bend it back or replace it, which costs you £2 and about half hour's time. So it's not too bad, but this is deep in the guts of the X
shock's
class. So
finally gotten
basically, I've got to
rattled,
take the top plate off, the bottom plate off. All the arms have got to come out. So it's a bit of a mission. So not good. That's why it didn't fly. And I don't know what was wrong with Martin's. I think he was not on race one, basically.
Oh dear. And how was, I mean, like the FPV? So we were running R1, R3, R4, F7, R8, and F7 was definitely too close to DJI public channel. We learnt that pretty quickly, which was kind of the concern anyway, because there's only 20 megahertz between them. So that was definitely going to be a risk, and it turns out that doesn't really work when people are turning on their DJI and swapping channels with DJI. It's just not quite quick enough to not be a problem. Other than that, like, how was it for the DJI people? Anyone that's flying
it was
DJI?
good. I was fine. Steve, you were fine, weren't you?
I was okay. I think I'd been overcoming the 25 milliwatt signal on... I've been overcoming the bad generic Cadex Omni by using more than 25 milliwatt. And on 25, it didn't show great performance at range. It was a little bit flaky. I ducked behind bushes and I'd see blockiness that I just wasn't used to seeing. Which was a little bit annoying, but it's not the end of the world. Still right. I could make out the power lines and everything just fine.
Yeah, mine wasn't too bad on 25 milliwatt. And then I had to put it down to 25 megabits a second as well, so you can have more than one person.
But you do long range, don't you, Tony? So you have a decent antenna on it.
Yeah, Menace made me some antennas for...
There you are, man. I'm just using the one that came in the box. I think that's probably where I'm going wrong.
Yeah. He made me some
But if they break...
They break, I say, Greg, please send me some more.
What are you talking about? I've got boxes of them under the chair here. Yeah.
Analog-wise, apart from F7, the only complaint I heard was from Jack, because he's used to being the only person running left-handed antennas, and so is used to not having any interference at all. But with the DJI stuff being on left-handed, there is all of a sudden a little bit of, it's not entirely clean.
He sensed a disturbance in the force.
Yeah, like he might lose like a line might be slightly darker than it should be, and so that's gonna...
I didn't have any problem with anyone else's frequency. The only problem I had was right at the end when my camera decided to detach itself. I don't know why.
It seems like as well the other reason for there being maybe not as much footage going up from the event as you might expect is that I don't think anyone was expecting quite as much sunshine as we got. I think It seems like everyone took off all their ND filters when it was raining and miserable,
Oh,
and then didn't put them back on.
yes,
Um,
I did that. All my cruising around videos were just white, and I played them back, and it was white, just ridiculous. So, yeah, didn't put my ND filters back on, and had everything set in my GoPro for the ND filters. So, yeah, not good. I am going to upload a video when we finish. It's probably
Hey.
about 3 minutes of just chasing the New York, Paris, Brighton vessel.
Oh, right, yes.
So, yeah, it's not
Oh,
very.
and Jack had something on his Instagram as well where he was persuading everyone to fly his quad at the end of the day for some kind of strange initiation.
Yeah,
we
it was
were
his fault.
encouraged
We
to-
all missed the pub entry last dinner time. Come on,
Yeah.
fly my quad. Come on. It's only 1,000,000,000 turns a second.
Did
I
he
can't
still have
fly it.
his completely like binary system where like in the middle you can just throw it about and,
No,
and
it's
nothing
fine.
happens?
I
Everyone was
presume
telling me, I
so,
thought this
but
was going to be like a booby trap or something. It was fine.
Stephen flew
No.
it all right, and so did Ryan.
That feels like how I'd
in the
normally fly a
chat.
quad. If anything, like I would have perhaps considered turning it up if I had a radio that big. But because I'm flying on this stupid little T-Lite, which has really short gimbal ends, I've made it like a PlayStation controller. So this stupid thing, right? So you see that? I have like no gimbal travel side to side, so I don't have stupid rates, but I'm like slamming to the edges of the gimbal pretty easily. And so it felt just it's like maybe a bit more rates. Who knows?
I still haven't.
I did like Jack's little live stream box that he made.
That was cool. That was a very simple solution.
Yeah,
that was good. So screen in a box, antenna, and then he and then basically went live and then slipped his phone into the box, which had a hole cut in it, and then you look down, and basically the camera would look down at the screen. Very good.
He'd stuck little bits of foam board to help the phone line up with the hole in the box, and so he just slid the phone on there and lined up the camera and could see the monitor in the box. It's really nice.
Yeah. Simple. Keep it simple. Absolutely. I saw a comment back here in the chat from Ryan saying, "Are we going to note the armchair front flip contest and who is the winner?" I don't know what that's referring to. I must have missed that bit.
Was it when Stephen semi broke his chair and then Jack sat on it and totally broke it? Something to do with it? While flying and
no one
goggles
stabbed
on.
himself on a tubular steel chair, to be honest.
It was.
I didn't think any.
Close.
Yeah, so I pushed down and tried to lift myself out of it because it was low and I couldn't get my feet down or something. And I just snapped off one of the armrests, and then Jack, because the armrests are like structural part of the frame, then the other half of the frame below the seat wasn't connected to anything, and Jack sat on it and it just gave out completely.
It's very elegant and graceful, sort of slow claps to the floor, though, by Jack.
Has anyone got that on camera? I will pay massively.
And the other thing going on in the chat at the moment, and for quite a while now, has been all the different ways that you can change your channel without having your VTX fired up. So there's like you're saying, the Speedy B and the Betaflight OTG.
The wand.
There's the wand. There's
Never works.
Ghost, using Ghost straight into your Tramp VTX.
Well, yeah, with those two methods, they rely on programming the VTX after things are powered on, so you can end up with a blip of a different channel before it. Is that going to... Because I saw people who gave out, when they plug in the battery, the receiver's got to connect before it changes the channel, doesn't it?
I see what you mean. Yeah, so unless you had a way of powering up your receiver before powering up the VTX,
Right.
maybe that's an
Maybe
issue.
if you plugged it in with a USB, it would power the receiver and not the VTX. If you had it wired correctly on your flight controller.
It's sounding like a Speedy Bee commercial here, but yeah, they're doing good work.
Ben Scarborough in the chat says, just flip the little dip switches.
I've got them on quite a lot of my quads.
Gins
So you had to
tachometer
be-
are roughly
to
15
press the
degrees
buttons on the-
clockwise.
You've got to find the bloody thing saying 2 down, 1 up. Oh, it's
Do you
good old days.
You actually have some of that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, both
Well,
of my
I've
fixed
been
wings
around
I was
the block,
flying
mate.
I don't have any smart audio on them. I was just pressing buttons on the VTXs. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've got the button push.
I want every channel.
Just not dip switches.
I think Stephen's face there just said quite a lot. That would have
It's
been
brilliant.
missed
You
on
can literally turn on and just go through. As you scroll through the channels, you hear different people scream on the flight line. Motherfucker!
Editor. Yeah, that's
Ooh,
the good thing
Andy
about
RC's
DVR.
in
You
the
do have
chat.
this ability
Hello,
of like,
Andy
just,
RC.
I don't want to worry about it. You sort it out. Like, there's this many channels. Just carry on filling them up until there's no more.
Well, just everyone just needs to go HD, don't they?
Yeah,
It's easy.
the Sharkbite still has the same problem, right? You still got to set up your channels and change to the right channel.
Apparently, it's Andy RC's birthday. Is that today? Can we confirm or deny?
Happy birthday! Unless this is Jack pranking.
Well, I don't know.
Oh no, here we are. Doesn't work if VTX powers off 5-volt ramp. Yes. Yeah, if your VTX is running off of your 4-volt 5 line, you've probably got bigger problems because anytime you configure your quad, your VTX is blasting out full power. And I've actually reset my USB hub by doing that on one flight controller. So it's not necessarily a great idea.
Happy birthday,
hub
Andy
cut out.
RC.
My very first quad that I built would actually arm via the USB.
What?
Yeah.
What?
That's what you want.
What,
Yeah.
you mean
that's what
you
your nerds
plug
say.
in? You mean you have to plug in your USB to ARM?
No, I
or do
didn't
you
have
mean-
to, but if you plugged it in with the USB, you could arm it and the
would
motor
arm.
would spin, yeah.
Yes.
I suppose you could remove the Betaflight's like MSP arming message, right? And
I think that was probably
make
on a
it safe.
KK2 or something, though.
That sounds
No,
mildly
that
terrifying.
it was on
Yeah,
an
it's quite scary.
old-
Always
I'm
take your
considering
props-
double arming
props off.
myself now after leaning forwards in my chair and accidentally arming when I was about to stand up because I switched the controller. Yeah. Two-stage
Right.
arming, I think. That's what I'm going to be working on next.
Yeah, it's got to be done.
Well, I mean, I'm still used to having like fixed wing models, like line of sight fixed wing models that would just have no arming or anything. You just, as soon as you plugged it in, it will go. So if you lean on your transmitter the wrong way,
Or people
it'll
who are
just
like,
cut your
no,
finger
why would you need a switch? Just put the sticks in the corners. And they literally cannot freestyle certain maneuvers because they're going to disarm that quad.
I've seen
Trippy
people
spins.
do
Every
that.
time I do a trippy spin, it disarms. I don't know.
I don't understand.
Yes. Well, I mean, what other events? Is it anyone got any other events coming up that they want to drop in? Because I mean, for me, the next thing in my calendar pretty much is Western Park. Because they're doing this sort of September event. They did a smaller June event, but they're doing a September event as well. That's meant to be like the full size Western Park show. Not full size. I mean,
What date is
full.
that?
Oh,
That is the 3rd to the 5th of September. So next week.
Not far away then.
And hopefully,
Why couldn't it be this weekend?
because
Hey?
I don't know.
Bank holiday and all that.
Yeah.
So this is officially the International Model Air Show,
Yep.
celebrating 25 years, apparently.
I'm not sure. I'll probably not. I've been twice, but
This
not
looks
sure.
like a seriously sandals required situation.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Definitely pack your white socks.
I'm slightly surprised that drones are allowed back, because in June they had bigger problems than goat herders. I'll leave it at that. There was some drama. So, but I'm going up. I'm looking forward to seeing Andy RC in person, Painless in person, Menace again, and anyone else that I can grab and find and say hello to. So if you are going, keep an eye out. Say hello to all of us that you spot.
And what can people expect to get up to? Is this somewhere you'd go and fly, or is this like an air show that you'd watch, or what type of thing?
It's kind of going around and having a look at things. So there's the main flight line where a load of fixed wing models, line of sight flying, but like crazy stuff that you won't really see anywhere else. There's the FPV quad racing, where it's generally an FAI. Which one is it? It's a world championship kind of event. So it's a international league event. There's the Heli Fest. There's a load of RC cars doing racing rounds. There's generally some whooping in the tent in between the main quad racing. It's just a really, really, really
Is it a
big
one
event.
day or 2 day
nice.
event?
That's a
It's
lot going
3
on.
days. It's the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
I'm seeing on their website there's a big aerial shot there. It looks like a lot of people are camping out there as well, right?
There's a lot of caravans. Like
There is quite a lot.
it's mainly a caravan show with some RC stuff. It's not really, but it does feel like that at times. You need to have the ability to
stocks?
travel a long distance, because it is a physically large show. Like if you're not particularly mobile, it might not be the show for you.
Right.
But if it's the
Wow.
one to take an e-bike to. It's that sort of thing.
Or an
of course,
or an
there is also
e-motorbike,
night flying
Louis.
is the big thing. There's a load of night flying and fireworks. Like they had quite a bit of that at Wings and Wheels, but they go nuts for it at Western Park. It's pretty crazy. So I'm looking forward to being there on the Saturday.
Not staying in, Frank.
No,
Are you driving there and coming back?
that's how that works. Yes.
Or is there room in the brum brum?
Maybe. We shall see.
Okay, I might have to.
We shall have a conversation.
Oh, hold on a minute. Do you owe me a lift somewhere? Yes, you do. I may jump in broom broom and not drive.
Maybe. We'll have a word off air.
Okay.
But yeah, any other events people are aware of? Anything going on?
There's hardly anything this year, is
Martin was
there?
talking about Fossil.
Oh,
was
there's
talking about
there's an
wing
X
and
class.
X-class racing.
16th of October, I believe.
Can't remember
To
where.
be
now,
confirmed. To be confirmed, I think.
Is this the one that we all need to speak to Clive FPV about being permitted into MOD land?
I believe it may be that.
Exciting stuff. Looking forward to that one. Oh yeah, there was Popham event. I meant to go on Sunday, but I was still sorting things out from Saturday, so
You're
I
recovering.
didn't end up going. Yeah, but it looks like they had a pretty good event. I don't think there was anything FPV as far as I could tell. It was just kind of the scale stuff, but looked like
How
it
did
went
they have
well.
it set up in the end then?
So they were using the so if you know Popham, there's one manned runway, like manned aircraft runway, that goes parallel with the A303, and another one that goes slightly off that angle
Okay, so-
across a load of fields. And that second one was the one where they had all the model flying on. So they had a load of jets and things flying along there, and they're using the massive marquee that's there for the other events. Yeah, it looked like it went pretty well. Yeah, so they're looking forward to having a bigger and better show next year. So we'll see. I might go to that one and not organize an event on the same weekend accidentally. But I think that's us for tonight. Thank you for listening and thank you for watching on the YouTubes. Tonight we have been Tony,
For sure.
Martian,
See ya.
Lurgy,
Bye-bye.
I've been Frank, and we have also had Stephen. You want to say goodbye? No, he doesn't. Because
Apologies for
Frank's
disappearing. I realised I'd left a beer downstairs for the entire duration of the show, and I just ran down to get it.
That
Rescue
is
it.
the
Like you're finishing now. Great
stupidest
timing.
thing you've ever done, Stephen.
Bye bye, everybody.